How do you deal with imposter syndrome as a software developer? My name's David, and I'm actually a freelance web developer. I'm here filming this video for you today in Seoul, Korea, as I'm doing some traveling throughout Asia. Just got done working all day, working on a new project on a blog, and it's in the evening time, so doing an evening walk while the weather is nice. So I thought I'll film you this video in the meantime. So I felt imposter syndrome pretty much every step of the way. Imposter syndrome is when you feel like you're worried about being figured out that you don't know what you're doing. People will realize that you don't deserve to be where you're at. You're not as good as you say. That basically you're an imposter for the position you currently have. And I felt that. When I was taking my coding bootcamp, it seemed like all my colleagues were grasping these concepts while I was struggling along. They would finish their projects on time, and I remember one time I submitted my project the very last minute that I could. I saw how they were able to understand the concepts, and I was asking for them for help all the time, and just felt kind of behind. And I wasn't new to coding when I took the coding bootcamp too. I did some self-studying and did some courses on my own. And then there were people who didn't take any courses on their own. It was the first time learning it, and they were connecting the dots while learning to code. And then I felt it when I got my tutoring job. I was supposed to tutor coding bootcamp students while I felt like an imposter knowing the curriculum. I was hoping that the students didn't figure out that I didn't know what I was doing when I was trying to help them, and I would just have anxiety for when work was about to begin, just hoping that I didn't get any tough questions, hoping that all the questions I get would be easy, and that if it was tough, I could ask for help without sounding dumb. And then when I had my full-time job as a software engineer at a tech company, I was worried about having imposter syndrome as well, worrying about that, oh, this guy doesn't know what he was doing, that we have to double check, we have to not be confident in his skill set as a developer. Be worried that I was going to get fired, get a performance improvement plan, and just get complaints about the other engineers on my team that I was bad. So I had imposter syndrome all throughout my journey into being a developer. But I worked through this imposter syndrome. When I was doing my coding bootcamp, yeah, I felt behind the entire time. But when the bootcamp was done, I relearned all the bootcamp and slowly started feeling more confident about it. And that was really accelerated when I had the tutoring job. I had so much anxiety helping the students out that I would do a lot of studying on my own term, and then surprisingly I got good at it. I felt confident in my ability to teach it. I wasn't dreading working as a tutor, and I was getting excited to share what I've learned and be able to help the students in their learning, because I just learned what I was tutoring them in with. So that nervousness turns into excitement. And then with my job, I was actually started off slow, but I kept at it. I showed up every day. I asked questions. I at first hesitated about asking for questions, asking to set up with meetings, but eventually I just knew that I need to get better. I put my pride aside and just freely ask questions so I can get better at my job. And then eventually, after my first year, I got a good performance review. So even though I had a lot of anxiety at first, it could be diminished the more I worked at it. And that's the thing. That's what makes a developer job so unique from other kind of jobs, because you do these jobs, you take on projects at work, not really knowing how to do it. Whereas when I was working as a nightclub promoter, I knew how to do it. I know I was experiment about different sales, marketing tactics, but I knew how to enter in a name on a guest list and upload it to the nightclubs as part of my job. I knew how to do that every time. When I was working in accounting, I knew how to do the service for the job. Let's say you're a barista, you know how to make a coffee for someone. You don't have anxiety of how to make a coffee, probably not. But the thing is, with coding, it's kind of baked in to the job. It's your job to learn and figure things out. They hire you to figure out how to do this job as you do the job. So that's what makes it more unique than other positions. That's why I never heard of imposter syndrome when I was working in accounting. I never heard of imposter syndrome as a promoter. So this job, this career as a programmer involves this level of challenge. And my tech lead would try to get me to this right level of challenge for me so I can continuously grow and get better. And here's the thing, because back at my tutoring job example, I got good at it, but then another weird thing happens. It got boring. I was getting bored of helping the students, and I wasn't feeling challenged enough. So that can happen to you too. Once you get good, you just get bored, and that's why people change jobs. People don't feel excited about work anymore, because there's also this degree of boredom once you get at a certain level. So feeling this imposter syndrome is a good thing. It makes you feel challenged. You should seek it, or else you're not growing. So it's common. You should not be afraid of it, but embrace it and look forward towards this imposter syndrome so you can grow as a software developer. So that's all I wanted to share with you today. If you need help learning how to code, I do coaching as well. If you need help with a project, I'm here to freelance that project, help you with whatever you need. Feel free to message me on Instagram, LinkedIn. Happy to talk about anything, even if you don't want a service and you just want to chat. I'm happy to chat as well. Thank you so much.